What's going on, guys? Jabba50 here, aka Jabba. Void Erosion Purge or the Void Erosion Dungeon, whichever you prefer. They're new, they're fresh, they're out of the oven. Let's talk tips, details, opinions. Let's get into it. Okay, so the Void Erosion Purge is a 20-stage dungeon that gets harder as you progress, with Vogus levels beginning at 161 to 165, all the way up to stage 20, where Vogus levels are 250 to 251. Now I know what you're probably thinking, Jabba, how are we supposed to defeat level 251 enemies with level 100 weapons? Well, that is where the Weapon Core Unleashed system comes into play, but that is enough information for a whole other video. But you will be able to obtain the augmentation cores from the Void Erosion Purge. They begin at level 2, and they will increase 1 level every 5 levels, all the way up to level 6. So one of the first things you're going to look at in the top left-hand corner, there are 2 tabs. Now, the first tab is just informing you that the champion monster's HP has been increased, but the second tab is the archetype barrier that the enemies will have in that specific stage. Now, one thing I did notice is specifically with the fire arc barrier is the fact that even when I used the Enduring Legacy, I was able to pop them relatively quickly, but more than likely, you'll just be using your Descendant skills to deal with those barriers. Now, this is a timed activity. You have 15 minutes to complete each stage for rewards. That is an important note because in order to unlock the next stage, you need to complete each stage with 5 minutes remaining on the clock. So now, as you can see, having a mid-max character, being able to push through and kill these enemies as fast as possible is going to be a very important part of Void Erosion Purge. Okay, so I have 2 graphs I want to show you guys. Let's get to the first one. Isn't it beautiful? All right, so now more than ever, physical weaknesses and elemental weaknesses, min-maxing these to actually matter. I'm trying to hold back a smile as I say this because I love min-maxing a character down to the most minute details, so this is super exciting. So as you guys can see, Legion of Immortality, we have a physical weakness of Crush and Toxic. Elemental weakness, Order of Truth would be Burst and Electric. Legion of Darkness, Pierce and Chill. So if you are wondering which enemy will be on a specific stage, you just have to refer back to the Arc Obstruction tab / the barrier. If you see a Toxic barrier, that will be the Order of Truth. If there is a Fire barrier, that will be the Legion of Darkness. And with Electric barriers, that will be the Legion of Immortality. Okay, let's get to graph number 2. Isn't this one also beautiful? Now, this is going to be our weapon damage types. It shows general, special, impact, and high-powered rounds, and relative to which physical weakness they actually do. So you have Crush, Burst, and Pierce. Again, guys, you can pause the video, snip it, screenshot it, save it next to your GAT folder, whatever you want to do with it. Now, when you do attack an enemy with its specific physical weakness, you will deal an additional 10% damage. Now, that damage will show as a green damage text color, same as in the reference with the weak point damage shows up as a golden color and critical hit damage shows up as an orange color. You guys know the deal. Let's keep it moving. Okay, so up first, Legion of Immortality, physical weakness Crush, elemental weakness Toxic. Who do you think I'm going with?
Who's that Pokemon?
Freyna. We're going with Freyna, okay? All day long. All right, so I did get to level 16 on Thursday when the update came out. I'm recording this video just a couple hours after that. Now, all the first 16 levels with the Contagion build, I really had no issues at all. Now, what I would say is you do need to be more tactful with your Venom Baptism because there are smaller rooms that have a small mob with 1 elite, but then there's what I'm calling right now main rooms that have around 4 or 5 plus elites. So again, just being more tactful with that Venom Baptism because the cooldowns are not that great on a Contagion build. But if you are running a Venom Baptism build, you have multi-talented, your cooldown is like 10 seconds or less, pop Venom Baptism all day, have fun, run the gambit. Okay, so one of the tips I did want to give to you guys, a pro gamer move, if you will, you don't need to go into the rooms. You do not need to go into the room. Every time I get to a stage where I can finally do public matchmaking, I'll see somebody just run headfirst into a room and get smacked. I know the 400% dungeons have us feeling ourselves. We've been able to just jump into a whole mob of enemies and just blast everything away, but these enemies in the Void Erosion Purge do hit hard. So I would just suggest just popping a skill into the room, working the angles of the doorway, dropping the enemies, unlock that next stage, and keep on pushing. All right, up next is the Order of Truth, physical weakness being Burst, elemental weakness being Electric. So I've been using my crit damage build for Bunny all the way up until level 16. I've gotten through them pretty much with no problem at all. Another Descendant that's doing extremely well in the Void Erosion Purge is Sharon. Sharon's killing it right now. And I know you guys are probably wondering, Jabba, What about Anise? What about her? Okay, now we're going to talk about her, but she has one major issue. And that's going to be her special resource plasma. Whenever you inflict conductor on an enemy, you will receive the special resource plasma at a 2.5% charge amount. So the problem with this special resource is conductor does not stack. So once you apply conductor to the initial mob around you, which Anise does really fast, you're unable to receive any more plasma from them, which is a major problem because Anise's skills 3 and 4, Discharge and Snare Hunter, those both need plasma to cast. So once you apply Conductor to the initial mob and then you cast either Snare Hunter or Discharge, you will find yourself multiple times within the Void Erosion Purge not being able to use half your kit, which makes no sense to me. Now, I've been looking to see if there's any mods or anything that can help me increase the charge amount on my special resource, but I haven't found it yet. So as of right now, I would say when it comes to Order of Truth stages, to use either Bunny or Sharon. One thing I did want to add, I kind of missed it in that last segment there, is you can quick press Anise's skill 3 for the plasma cost to be lower, but as you progress in the stages, especially with like stage 16 where I'm on right now, just a quick press of the discharge, it doesn't do enough damage to be significant for the elites especially. So again, I was just finding myself so many times without any plasma, and again, half of my kit being useless. All right, so last but not least, we have the Legion of Darkness. Their physical weakness is Pierce, and their elemental weakness is Chill. So you already know who I'm going with. The Ice Queen herself, Viessa. So referring back to the chart, as you can see, Pierce weapons involve the handguns, assault rifles, beam rifles, and launchers. Now, we all know that these specific weapon types are not the greatest in the First Descendant, but maybe with the Weapon Core Unleashed system, we'll actually be able to make them a little more effective. But with Viessa, who needs a weapon? Okay, let me not say that because I know the devs want the weapons to be more effective and they want us to utilize weapons more. And I'm seeing that through the Void Erosion Purge and with their Weapon Core Unleashed system. I did unlock the core on my Secret Garden. I got a pretty decent firearm attack roll for it. And I do see the difference. It is hitting harder. So again, maybe with the Weapon Core Unleashed system, we might be able to make those handguns and assault rifles more effective. Now, when it comes to your reactor, using specific enemy type damage substats actually has some uses now. So just as you would use a Colossus substat when fighting a Colossus on your reactor, I would suggest getting yourself a specific enemy type damage substat. I did a little bit of farming and was lucky enough to get a gold roll on skill critical hit damage and Order of Truth damage on my electric reactor. I did a little bit of testing and it smacks, bro. So again, it'll be a good tool in your toolbox. Might want to check that out. Now, as far as the rewards are concerned, yes, you do obtain the augmentation cores for the Weapon Unleashed system, but what kind of surprised me was you're not able to get the brand new material Void Abyss Metal Fragments. Like, yes, you can get them from Defiler, but also the 400% dungeons. It just doesn't really make that much sense to me, seeing as though the Void Erosion Purge takes place in the Void Abyss. Void Abyss Metal Fragments. You guys kind of see where I'm going with this, but yeah. That's it for me. Let me know what you think in the comments section about the Season 2 Phase 2 update. Jabba out.